Progress as Schumacher has a second operation, but he's not out of danger. His family remain with the former world champion. His agent tells us how the accident happened. Also tonight, ready for new European migrants, but Romania dismisses talk of an invasion. And a bridge between the years. Sydney's Golden Gate shows the way to welcome 2014.
This is ITV News with Alastair Stewart.
Good evening. Michael Schumacher's agent has been describing how Formula One's greatest champion hit one rock during his skiing accident, then landed on his head on another. Doctors operated on him again overnight. They say there has been a slight decrease in the pressure on his brain. Our Europe correspondent Emma Murphy reports from the French hospital where he's being treated.
These are the people fighting to keep Michael Schumacher alive. A team of doctors whose work is now being followed around the world. Sombre-faced and sleep-deprived, they seek to minimise the swelling in his brain. A second operation has brought them some success, but not enough to speak of optimism or survival.
With the family's agreement, we went to the operating theatre, and the hematoma was successfully removed, and the CT scan today is better, and the clinical situation is a bit improved compared to yesterday. But at the time it's too premature to make any speculation about his condition.
It's now over 48 hours since Michael Schumacher crashed on the slopes in the Alpine resort of Mirabel, and for the first time the detail of how he suffered such a catastrophic injury has emerged.
It seemed that he had even helped a friend who just had fallen on the piste, so he started to ski again, went into this deep snow, and apparently, this is what we guess, has hit a rocket which he had not seen when he wanted to do a curve. And he was hit by that rocket, and he was kind of catapulted in the air and apparently head down, hitting another rock, which was extreme bad and unfortunate circumstance, and not because of he was speeding too much.
After a life spent at speed, it is a terrible irony that it appears to have played no part in the accident which has left him so close to death.
Emma, how do you assess the mood there now?
I wish I could say that the mood here was positive, but that would be overstating the situation. Of course, there was some optimism last night when the scan showed that he was stable enough for them to attempt that operation to remove the largest of the blood clots, but a number of others still remain and are causing them difficulties. I was talking to one of the doctors here earlier on today, and I asked him whether we should take hope from the fact that they had been able to do that operation. And he said simply, it would be wrong to say that we are optimistic, we are simply less frightened than we were at this point yesterday. He went on to say that Michael Schumacher remains in a critical condition and they are monitoring him hour by hour. They don't rule out having to take place further surgery, but at this stage his family are by his bedside, hoping and praying that he can get through this.
Emma, thank you. No one knows how many there will come here, but in just over 5 hours' time, all Romanians and Bulgarians will be entitled to work in the UK, and once they pass the residency test, to claim benefits. Well, our political correspondent Romilly Weeks joins me now. That's the key question, isn't it? Is there any sensible estimate of numbers?
Well, not from the government. They're very reluctant to put any sort of figure on it. Migration Watch, the group which campaigns for lower immigration, is suggesting there could be as many as 50,000 Bulgarian and Romanian migrants every year for the next 5 years, attracted, they say, by higher wages and in-work benefits here. Bulgarian and Romanian governments dispute that strongly, saying that they think the figure would be more like 8,000. Clearly, no one really knows. The fact that the government is rushing through measures to come into force tomorrow to restrict migrants' access to certain benefits suggests there is a degree of nervousness about the figures. The right-wing press is suggesting that flights from Bulgaria and Romania are all sold out over the next week. We've done our own checks, and there are seats on all the three main airlines as of about an hour ago. But one thing to remember about tomorrow is that 8 other European countries are lifting their restrictions at the same time. So Romanians and Bulgarians with the desire to move will have plenty of alternatives to the UK.
Romilly, thank you very much. MPs are to question the bosses of the UK's energy networks over the time it took to reconnect homes where power was cut by the Christmas storms. Thousands of families spent days without electricity. Forecasters predict 2014 will begin with more bad weather, affecting southern England and western Scotland. Well, the weather also contributed toward a less than rosy forecast from the department store group Debenhams. It warned today of profits falling by more than a quarter. A sales surge in the week before Christmas never materialised. An end-of-year deadline for Northern Ireland to put divisions of the past behind has been missed. Dr. Richard Haas, the former US diplomat sent in to lead negotiations, was unable to get a consensus among Stormont's 5 main political parties, despite a marathon final night of talks.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh God.
An explosion shocked residents at a block of West London flats today after a fire broke out. A woman was taken to hospital suffering from burns. And John Fortune, the comedian made famous on Bremner Burden Fortune, has died at the age of 74.
For the first time, nobody will be allowed to vote for a candidate.
So, what are we voting for, then?
Fun. Fun. Something to spend the time on a wet Thursday.
Fortune and fellow comedian John Bird became household names for their sketches, satirising bumbling politicians and businessmen. The actress Penelope Keith, famous for playing posh characters on television, says she's amazed and excited to have made a real-life dame. But in the list of nearly 1,200 New Year's honours, there are plenty of less famous, but no less deserving people, including a fish and chip shop manager and charity fundraisers. Sejal Carrier reports on the new VIPs.
You're almost one of us now.
She's used to playing the lady of the manor.
Well, you can't be completely one of us until you've lived here for some years.
About 400.
But Penelope Keith is now a real-life dame. In a New Year honours list where, for the first time, women outnumber the men.
Why not? Well, you're sent a letter 6 weeks ago, and you sort of read it, and you think, wow, and it says, will you please let the Prime Minister know if you would accept this honour? So you don't have to think for very long. And, well, sort of amazed and excited and thrilled and wow.
There's been another murder, man.
Murder?
Murder.
Oh, good heavens.
Also becoming a dame is Murder, She Wrote actress Angela Lansbury.
Well, my congratulations to you.
Leading the charge for the men is celebrated sculptor Anthony Gormley, famous for the Angel of the North. He receives a knighthood.
The Queen loves you all, I've asked her.
The phone hasn't stopped ringing at Gwendolyn Galliers' house in West Yorkshire. She's 90 and has devoted her life to fundraising for sick and disabled children. She's been awarded a British Empire Medal.
It's a great honour and privilege that the Queen would choose me out of all the thousands who are doing this kind of work, because it's not only me.
Also receiving the medal is Bettina Dawson. She too is 90 and has clocked up 77 years at the family chip shop. It now means a trip to see the Queen, and there's really only one thing to take.
I'll take it a fish supper, how about that?
Recognition for the unsung heroes alongside the famous faces.
If you so much as sniggers, I'm going straight back indoors.
All of whom contribute so much to British life. Sejal Carrier, ITV News.
Now it's already 2014 on the other side of the world. First New Zealand, then Australia and China. It is getting closer to us by the minute. Neil Connery's watched the wave of celebration rolling westward.
Auckland was the first major city to ring in the new year as New Zealand welcomed 2014 in style.
2, 1.
In Sydney, there was a breathtaking start to the new year. More than 1 million people crammed onto the shores of Sydney Harbour as the city bathed under the glow of a spectacular 11-minute firework display. Australia, as always, determined to show the world how New Year should really be celebrated. In Tokyo, monks rang the bell of time housed at the Buddhist temple to mark 2014's arrival. The ancient traditions greeted by a modern welcome, with everyone determined to get a picture. More than 850,000 revellers in Taipei savoured this spectacle as Taiwan marked the midnight hour. Hong Kong's harbour played host to a mesmerising start to the new year. And the Great Wall of China near Beijing was lit up with lasers, providing the dramatic backdrop for celebrations and thrilling the crowds. Neil Connery, ITV News.
And here, major celebrations will take place in London and Edinburgh. In a moment, we'll head to the Scottish capital and our correspondent Damon Green. But first, let's go to central London and join Raggy Omar. Raggy, big party planned on the River Thames.
Very big party, Alastair. Crowds are gathering. People have got their sort of deck chairs, their picnics and bottles filled with coffee and probably something a little bit harder as the hours go on. But they're expecting around 250,000 people here from Westminster to Blackfriars Bridge, another 750,000 in the centre of London. But this year, there'll not only be the spectacular fireworks costing £2 million, you'll only be able to see and hear the celebrations. You'll be able to taste them because they're going to be banana-flavoured confetti to coincide with the yellow fireworks and strawberry-flavoured mists and balloons to coincide with the red fireworks. So a really party atmosphere, but it is going to be spectacular and it's going to be very loud.
Here in Edinburgh, in half an hour's time, streets in the centre of the city will start to close and crowds will start to gather for the first of this evening's festivities here. The first fireworks display just after 8 o'clock at 2014 to be precise, and then displays at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and not to be outdone by London at midnight, there'll be 2 firework displays. 5 sound stages will go live at 9 o'clock with music throughout the evening. I'm told tickets for the main concert area below the castle are sold out, but there are still tickets to be had for the street party area on Princes Street. I'm told they're available at the box office, but when they're gone, they're gone. And if the weather stays as fine as it is now, it could be a very special celebration here in Edinburgh.
Damon and Raggy, thank you both very much. And that is the news so far this New Year's Eve. Join me again later, but for now, a very good evening to you. Bye-bye.
Newquay! Lovely weather for ducks! And us chicks!
Seven Seas Multivitamins proudly sponsors the ITV National Weather.
Hello, good evening. If you're going to be heading out shortly to bring in the new year, make sure you do take a brolly with you, particularly for western and central parts of Britain. We're going to see some fairly blustery showers feeding in on that westerly flow we've had with us for the last few days. We could also see some hail and thunder mixed in. So in more detail as we go through this evening, this is how it's looking. This is the band of rain which we had crossing eastwards earlier today. Behind it we've got this drier, clearer slice of weather, but those showers are going to be hot on its heels, and as we go through this evening and overnight tonight, they will be spreading inland to all parts and again staying quite heavy and persistent. The driest of the conditions will be for eastern parts of Scotland, but it's going to be quite cold here, down to around 1 or 2 degrees in places. Cold enough for a frost, so if you are going to be out and about, maybe to watch some fireworks, make sure you do wrap up warm. In fact, wrap up wherever you're going to be, because if you are going to be sit outside for long periods with lows of 4 or 5 across the rest of Britain, it's still going to feel quite chilly in the early hours. Then tomorrow, well, New Year's Day, starts off on a pretty cloudy note with outbreaks of persistent rain spreading in across the southwest of England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and also to the western parts of the borders there. But gradually through the daytime, this band of rain is going to spread to all parts, staying quite heavy and persistent. Potent showers feeding in across the southwest and Wales during the afternoon once that main band of rain is out of the way. The wind's also whipping up, gusts of between 50 and 60 miles down across the southwest. That could cause maybe some disruption. As for our temperatures, actually not too bad for the 1st of January, above average with a high of 10 or 11 degrees down across the south. Not too bad up across the north, 6 or 8. My next forecast is after midnight, so I'll see you next year.
7 Seas Multivitamins proudly sponsors the ITV National Weather.